afternoon's one is focusing on the searching tools and showcasing some of Aspen's excellent signposting, which enhances the user experience. Now, what is Aspen? Well, it is a new discovery platform which offers a far superior experience for your library users. It's essentially a front end to your library management system. It is open source and it's also LMS agnostic, which means that it can be the front end for any of the mainstream library systems out there. Because we host and support the Koha library management system, that's obviously what our back end is, but it works equally well with some of the other systems out there. Essentially, it's a single search point to retrieve all library resources. So one single platform to bring together as much information about your physical materials in the catalogue, as well as all your e-content, all your index websites, photograph collections, and so much more. The slide that I've got on screen at the moment just shows the 4 main goals for Aspen Discovery. And over the series of webinars, I hope that you'll see that each of these goals is met with what I'm going to show you. So the webinar today will introduce you to the platform, but we really do only have time to scratch the surface. And we'll be looking at different components throughout the series as well. So if you haven't already registered, please do so, and you'll be sent the recordings for the future webinars. So I'm just going to take you into the front end of the Discovery platform. So this is our demo system that we're going to be using. We do have some customers using this in their libraries, but I'm not going to be showing their sites today. I am going to be doing everything on our demo system. What I want to show first of all is how easy it is to brand Aspen accordingly. So we've got our demo system here. I'll come back to the navigation of it in a moment. But coming along the different tabs, you can see that we've got different displays of the system. So we've got this one, which is kind of similar, but with different colours. We've got this one, which is a completely different front page with carousels appearing at the front and library maps and so on. And then we've got another system which is designed to be used sort of for the academic libraries. And each one of these is simply a different interface, a different theme, but it's the same system in the background. So this can be incredibly useful for libraries that have many sites, and especially consortium type environments where you still want to regain that bit of independence, but you're part of that larger network of libraries. So a future webinar session, we are actually going to explore how easy it is to set these up to look different, and just give you a feel for the type of configuration that is available to you. So a little bit about what we're seeing on the screen. Well, first of all, you've got these messages that can appear at the top, and they can be configured to display or to not display. They can be time constraints on them. They can be published whenever you need them to be. They can be editable, etc. You've got space there for putting your library's logo and branding and so on in here. And you've got this area where you can have links elsewhere as well. Aspen is also a content management system, and therefore the library can utilise the tools available to promote itself and services offered. And again, a future webinar will be looking at the content management system part of it in a lot more detail. But even just going back to having the different themes, you can see this one's just got these 3 links. But if we have a look at the academic library, it's got a lot more links going along there. And even this one's got some different links as well. So again, just bear that in mind. The theme controls what you're seeing. We've obviously got our search bar, and then you can search by different indexes, or you can search different resources as well, and I'll talk about that in a little bit in detail shortly. Obviously, you can sign in and have a look at your account, and future webinars will be focusing on that patron account functionality. I'll come back to this button at the end. Now, on our demo system as well, what we see underneath the search bar are all these browse categories. These are really straightforward to create, and again, they're signposting that user to specific resources within the library. Sometimes the user will come in and not have a clue what they're looking for, and it's just a way of sort of collating that information together for them. So for example, if I click on fiction, it then gives me subcategories as well. So if I was interested to see what was in the children's fiction area, I could drill down and get specific details on that. And then of course I can click in to get more information on each of these as relevant. Now, another thing to note is that users themselves can create their own category lists, and again, that will be explored in a future webinar. And then once they are signed in, they will see their own lists displaying on the carousel at the top there too. So I'm going to just do a simple search by keyword in the library catalogue, and I'm just going to do a search for Pride and Prejudice. And the reason that I've done this one specifically is because it gives a really good example of how Aspen automatically groups together different formats of the same title. So in a library catalogue, a user can often be frustrated when they do a search and then they get half a dozen entries for exactly the same title, and the reason for that is that they've got different formats attached to them. So Aspen supports the Ferberization aspect. So in this case, we've got the physical copy of the book, which is in the library on the shelf. We've also got an audio book, which is sitting on a shelf. But then we've got e-content as well. So we've got our e-book and our e-audio. And we can do previews. So we can preview from that e-book. And our demo system is plugged into the Overdrive system, but equally any sort of ebook content, Belinda, whatever, will also work in the same way. And you can also preview e-audio books as well. You've got your sound that you can put on screen as well, and so on. I've got facets appearing on the left-hand side too. And you can drill this down a little bit further, and you can also lock them. So if you were interested in looking at things for a particular subject and you wanted to actually lock that in for future use, you can do that, and you can get your wee sort of padlock as well that you can lock in your facets accordingly, and then that way it apply them for that session base too. You can, if I go back to that previous page, if you've got e-content in there, you can check out directly from there as well. And you've got underneath a little bit more of a description, and you can get more information, you can add reviews, you can have social networking links on here as well, etc., etc. And all of this, I have to say, is configurable, so you can have things switched on, switched off. Scrolling down a little bit further, one really good piece of functionality that Aspen offers is this Explore More banner. Now, this appears on every page if you have selected to search in a particular resource. So in this case, we've selected a library catalogue. So it's giving us, let's explore what else that matches our search criteria, but elsewhere. So here, for example, we're signposted to having a look in the academic journals collection to see what might be of interest in there, also in our magazines and news content, websites, and so on. And that appears everywhere, and it's really, really useful because sometimes students or members of the public actually just don't know what they're looking for and are grateful to be sort of signposted into other areas. If we scroll to the bottom of the page, we've got other things that are configurable. So you can allow people to create interlibrary loans or submit purchase suggestion requests if they haven't found what they're looking for. And then right at the bottom as well, you've got your search tool. So you can email your search, you can say that you can export it, and so on and so forth. Just to show you another little bit of some functionality that you might be interested in, I'm going to jump over into this Western selection here, and I'm going to do a search this time for fitness. And now when I execute my search, I wanted to show you a little bit of the scoping. So in this case, the West system has its configuration scoped to show those local resources that are only relevant to that set of libraries within this theme. So we've got our local library displaying results from these West Hunt and West Main. And if we have a look in all regions, again, it's only the West that you're seeing here. So we're not seeing anything for any library that's outside of that West area. Again, that can be really useful for consortium environments where they do want the scoping done so that they're only seeing their own material. However, that can be enhanced slightly, and if I show you that on the East theme, and again, if I just repeat that search for fitness, and also as I'm typing here, you can see that you do get offered some alternatives as well. So Aspen's offering you that sort of, again, is this what you're interested in? If so, you can click on there. So I'm going to just do fitness again in here, click search, and this time I've got my local library and I've got all regions. And all regions this time includes West as well as East. And you can see the difference on the top facets here as well. So we can easily toggle between what it defaults to, which is within our own library environment, or we can expand out and have a look and see what else there is. So again, it's all about how the system's configured under the hood and what you want to expose to your users in terms of the results that they're going to retrieve. Now, if I go back to my home screen, and this time I'm going to change into articles and databases, and I'm going to do a search for economics. Now, our system, our demo system, is connected up to the Aspen Discovery service. So the results that we are seeing here are coming from EDS. It can also connect into other discovery platforms, for example, Summon is a development that we've just recently undertaken, so it would work in the same way. And at this point, we're now getting our results, but they're displayed on Aspen, but they're coming from EDS. And the facets on the left-hand side match the facets that you would see in EDS. And then depending upon your EDS configuration as well, you can get things like your research starters appearing on screen. And again, just to show you, we've got this Explore More banner again, but it does take you in to have a look at matching results in the catalogue this time, because at the top we selected articles and databases, so it always knows where your search started and offers you alternatives in the other resources that you've got feeding into the Aspen platform. So one other thing just to show is a different view. Some of our customers have a combined results set up as the default. Because they like to have that different style of display. So if I have a look at history as a search term, just to show you what I mean, it now displays in this kind of bento box style. So we get some hits from our library catalogue. We get the first 5 appearing, but it does tell you how many there are in total. We get some from any lists that we've got matching. We've got matches from indexed websites. And also EBSCO Discovery and any open archives. And if we actually hover over, so if I hover over the second one, you can see from the bottom left that this is coming from a collection, an open access collection from our library in America. If I have a look at the top one, it's coming from an academic institution, SOAS, in London. So these are open access collections that can be pulled in using OAI. And again, you're giving your user a far greater experience because they're being able to then see that they've got resources that they can access elsewhere that they wouldn't otherwise know about. Just also to show you, if I go back to my home screen and do a search for the term marketing, what we're seeing now is that as well as having our facets on the left-hand side and our results and our Explore More banner and everything that I've shown you so far, we're also seeing at the top what's called a placard, and that will always be at the top of the page if it's relevant to the search that you're doing. And in this case, this placard has been triggered by the keyword of marketing. And this can be used for a variety of reasons. In this case, it's like directing your users or student to something that they may be of interest in elsewhere in the university website. In public libraries, it can be used for promoting displays or promoting events that they may be had. It can be used for any purpose, and again, in future webinars, we'll be looking at them in a little bit more detail and talking about how they can be used. But I just thought it was useful to show in this particular session just now. The other thing just to mention whilst I'm on this screen, if I just scroll down, obviously we are seeing book jackets appearing, and we're only seeing very basic information. If you want to go in and have a look at more, you can click in, get more detail, and further down, you're getting things like the copies that are available. You're also getting a more like this banner. So you're able to sort of go through this carousel and see what else is in the library that's similar to your search term. So again, another signposting tool directing the user to further resources. You can also plug in reviews from external resources like Goodreads, and you can have a look and see more details and corresponding subjects and so on. So you can have that sort of collapsed, compressed view, and then obviously go in and expand what you're needing to look at in more detail. And you can toggle through the set of results and go back to your search results at any time as well. Just to sort of finish off, over at the right-hand side, you do have your sign-in, so you can sign in as a library user. But as I said earlier, we're going to be doing a whole session on looking at the patient account functionality and really going through that experience. So we're not going to be signing in today. The hamburger option next to that gives you another option to access your account. You can also have a look at things like the library hours and location that's relevant to your own library. So you can select from the list here, have a look at different options that are available. And up at the top, you've got this languages and display button. Now, again, another session we'll be looking at different languages on Aspen and how easy it is to translate terms. But just to show you just now, we can toggle between English and Welsh. So if I change that to be Welsh and update the settings, you'll see things like library catalogue and keyword and search have all changed to now be visible in Welsh. And as I say, we will be looking at that in another session. So I'm just going to pop it back to English just now to not confuse me. And the other thing that you can do is you can change your display mode as well. So some people like to work with a high contrast. Some people like just dark mode. So let's switch it into dark mode and update and just have a look and see how that changes. Okay, so it automatically changes, the whole colour changes, the message bar at the top changes. So you've kind of got the local configuration as well, and your users are able to change that according to their preferences. The final thing I just want to say before closing is that whilst the users can change their own preferences like that, they can sign into their account and so on, it is prevalent for me to say that Aspen is fully responsive. So they don't need to be on a desktop or a laptop. They can use their mobile phone, they can use an iPad or equivalent, and it will completely resize accordingly. There's nothing that they need to do to resize that. So everything's accessible through a mobile device as well. So I'm very conscious of the time, and I have pretty much used my allotted time for this webinar. I hope that gave you a flavour of what Aspen can do and what it can bring to your library system. It really can offer an enhanced experience for the service and for the users, and hopefully I've given you that wee bit of an overview, and I'm excited to show you what else it can do within future webinars over the next upcoming months. Next Aspen webinar is the 19th of February, and it focuses on sort of the promotion of the library and the digital marketing. So that's when we'll be looking at how Aspen can be used for a content management system in a little bit more detail. So do sign up for that if you are interested. I'm going to send you the recording afterwards.